All right, Remote Calculus, welcome to a quiz review video for your antiderivatives quiz number 1. These questions are from the document that I emailed you. So number 1, they're all find the general antiderivative. There's 24 of them in total. So number 1, f of x is 2x to the 5th minus 3x to the 4th plus 4x plus 3. Here's what I'm going to do. So I'm just going to add 1 to the power and divide by that new power on all of them, really. And that's what I did here. So add 1 to the power, 6 divided by that power, minus add 1 to the power, 5 divided by that power, plus add 1 to that power, 2 divided by that power, plus 3x plus c, 1/3 x to the 6 minus 3/5 x to the 5th, plus 2x squared plus 3x plus c. Number 2, I take the derivative of what to get me secant squared x? That's what we should be thinking. I take the derivative of tangent to get me secant squared. So the antiderivative of 4 secant squared would be 4 tangent x plus c. So again, another way to write that I'm taking the antiderivative. All right, there we go. So that's the, again, integral symbol. We'll talk about that more later. Of secant squared x dx is tangent x plus c. All right, so number 3 here is just the power property here again. Add 1 to the power, divide by that power, minus add 1 to that power, divide by that power, plus 5x plus c, 1/6 x to the 3rd minus 3x squared plus 5x plus c. F of x is 3 secant x tangent x. I take the derivative of what to get me secant tan? Take the derivative of secant to get secant x tangent x. So the integral, secant x tan x dx, again, this just means the independent variable, we'll talk more about that later, is secant x plus c. So 3 secant x plus c is my antiderivative. All right, so we talked about these in the previous video here. I take the derivative of what to get me cosine. I take the derivative of sine to get me cosine. So the antiderivative of 6 cosine x would be 6 sine x plus c. Again, take the derivative of this. 6 cosine x, derivative of c is 0. And page 1 of several pages here. Please watch this over and over. Number 6, I take the derivative of what to get sine. I take the derivative of cosine to get negative sine. So I would have to take the derivative of negative cosine to get positive sine. So the antiderivative is a negative 4 cosine x plus c. 7, couldn't be easier. The derivative of e to the x is e to the x. So the antiderivative of 7 e to the x would be 7 e to the x plus c. Because, you know, the derivative of this is 1. So instead of multiplying 1, I divide by 1. It doesn't matter. If I multiply or divide by 1, the antiderivative is 7 e to the x. And number 8, I take the derivative of what to get cosine? It would be sine. So 4 sine 2x, because that's a 2x. Instead of multiplying by 2, which is what I would do if I was taking the derivative, multiply by half plus c. Again, I can take the derivative of this. It would be 2 cosine 2x times 2, and that's what would give me 4 cosine 2x. I take the derivative of what to get negative sine, and I take the derivative of cosine. All right, so the antiderivative of negative 8 sine 4x would be positive 8 cosine 4x. And again, instead of multiplying by 4, I'm going to multiply by 1 over 4, the reciprocal, or divide by 4. A quarter of 8 is 2 cosine 4x plus c. Again, take its derivative, negative 2 sine 4x times 4. That's how I'd get negative 8 sine 4x. Number 8, just going to rewrite as, so 8 over x is like 8 times 1 over x. That's very important here. Minus 2x to the negative second. Antiderivative of 1 over x is natural log x. So this is 8 natural log x minus, add 1 to the power, negative 1, divide by that power, plus c. Negative divided by negative is positive, so it's going to be 2 over x plus c. And about halfway through, again, pause this whenever you need to. Number 11, antiderivative of 4e to the 2x would be 4e to the 2x. But instead of multiplying by 2, the derivative of 2x, I would divide by 2 or multiply by half. Then don't forget about this arbitrary constant plus c. 4 times a half is 2. Again, if I was taking this derivative, it would be 2e to the 2x times 2. That gets me 4e to the 2x. Derivative of c would be 0. All right, so 12, very similar. Antiderivative of 6e to the negative 4x would be 6e to the negative 4x. Instead of multiplying by negative 4, the derivative of negative 4x, I would multiply by negative 1/4. 6 times the negative quarter is negative 3 over 2, e to the negative 4x plus c. On 13, I'm going to rewrite the cubed root of x squared minus 3x plus 5 as x to the 2/3 minus 3x plus 5. Add 1 to this power, so add 3 over 3. That's 5/3. Instead of dividing by 5/3, I'm going to multiply by 3/5 minus 1 power up, 2 divided by the new power, plus 5x plus c. Again, this is like x to the 0, so if I add 1 to the power, it's x to the first, and then I would divide by 1. On 14, you have f of x is 3 over x squared minus 4 over x plus 2. This is going to be 3x to the negative 2 minus 4 times 1 over x. That's what 4 over x is, plus 2. 1 power up, that's negative 1 divided by the new power, minus 4. Antiderivative of 1 over x is natural log x, plus 2x plus c. 3 over negative 1 is a negative 3. X to the negative first is over x minus 4 natural log x plus 2x plus c. And we are going here. What do we got? 10 more? 15. F of x is 2x to the negative third plus 4x to the negative second plus 3x to the negative first, which we should write as 3 over x because 3 over x is 3 times 1 over x, so that antiderivative is 3 natural log x. 1 power up, negative 1 divided by the new power. 1 power up, negative 2 divided by that new power. 2 over negative 2 is a negative 1. X to the negative second puts x squared in the denominator. X to the negative first puts x in the denominator. And then it's 3 natural log x plus c. On 16, we just need to FOIL 3 minus x squared. 72 minus 48x plus 8x squared. 1 power up divided by the new power minus 1 power up divided by the new power plus 1 power up divided by the new power. 48 over 2, negative 24x squared. There's the antiderivative, 72x minus 24x squared plus 8/3 x to the third plus c. On 17, you are given the 4th root of x to the third minus the 3rd root of x squared plus the square root of x. I'm going to write this in exponential form. Add 1 to the power, that's 7/4. Instead of dividing by 7/4, multiply by 4/7. Add 1 to the power here, 5/3. Instead of dividing by 5/3, multiply by 3/5. Add 1 to 1/2, that's 3 over 2. Instead of dividing by 3 over 2, multiply by 2/3. That does not need any simplifying. 4 plus 3x minus 2x squared over x squared. I'm going to subtract 2 from the exponent. And this exponent in each one. Again, instead of writing as 3x to the negative first, I'm going to write this as 3 over x minus 2. Because 3 over x is 3 times 1 over x. The antiderivative of 1 over x is natural log x attached to the 3. This negative second power, add 1 to it, that's negative 1, divide by the new power. This was x to the first, or x to the 0, so add 1 to it, that's x to the first, divide by 1. 4 over negative 1 is a negative 4, x to the negative first is over x, plus 3 natural log x, minus 2x plus c. All right, getting closer here on 19. 3x minus 1 cubed. So what I did is I squared it, and then I multiplied it by another 3x minus 1. Check my algebra, but I believe it's this. 1 power, add 1 to the power 4, divide by that power, minus add 1 to the power 3, divide by that power, plus add 1 to the power 2, divide by 2. Antiderivative of negative 1 is a negative x plus c. And just clean up the 27 over 3, x to the third. Doing the opposite of a derivative, all right? Opposite operations of a derivative there. On 22 minus x times x plus 3, all of it squared. I squared it. Then I used distribution from algebra 2. Here's what I got. Add 1 to that power 4, divide by 4. Add 1 to the power 3, divide by 3. Add 1 to the power, would be now 2, divided by 2. Add an x to the first, divided by x, or 1, plus c. On 21, I take the derivative of what to get sine? I take the derivative of negative cosine. So negative 2 cosine 3x. Instead of multiplying by 3, I multiply by a third plus c. Again, if I were taking the derivative of that, it would be positive 2/3 sine 3x times 3. The 3's would cancel, and I'd be left with that. All right. Add 1 to that power 3 divided by 3 minus add 1 to the power 2 divided by 2. Attach an x there plus c. Just simplify that. And we got 2, sorry about that. We got 2 more. So I take the derivative of secant to get me 10 secant tangent. So the antiderivative of 10 secant tangent is 10 secant minus, it's going to stay minus because you have a minus 4. I take the derivative of sine to get me cosine. So I take the derivative of negative 4. Taking the derivative of negative 4 sine will give me negative 4 cosine. All right, just be careful there. And on 24, I'm going to rewrite this as 2/3 times 1 over x minus 2 times x to the negative second plus 3/4. Antiderivative of 1 over x is natural log x. Add 1 to the power, negative 1, divide by negative 1, plus 3/4 x plus c. Negative 2 divided by negative 1 is 2 over x plus 3/4 x plus c. That's it, folks. All right. This is Yak Math Videos signing out.